Well, what's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Luke Cage Season 2, Episode 4, I Get Physical. So this one was, I guess, the one I've been expecting for a little while because of the Luke Cage and, how kind of cocky he's been since the beginning of the season. Like, oh, nobody can stop me. I'm bulletproof. You got to step up. So, of course, this is the one where he gets his ass kicked. And, yeah, it played out exactly how I expected it to. It happens. People are talking about it. I was, I guess, expecting a couple more reactions of kind of fear, like, oh my gosh, he was our hero and now he got beat. Like, what do we do now? Our hero got beat. But instead it was more like they were talking about, oh, Tyson got beat. You weren't a little excited when that happened? Like the underdog ends up beating the heroes. I just found it a little weird. And I guess it's because he doesn't seem like a villain yet, Bushmaster, to everybody, like the common folk. So nobody really thinks of it as, oh, the villain just beat the hero. They just think of it as some guy, like, stepping up to Luke Cage because he taunted and said, hey, you want to try to beat me? Come on, give it your best shot. And then this guy came and gave it his best shot. I think that's what's going through everyone's minds, at least I hope. I hope it's not just like, oh, people are just that dumb and they just think, oh, yeah, well, Luke Cage has been kind of causing some problems, so I'm glad the villain won in this case. They might possibly do that, but we'll see. But as far as the rest of the episode goes, I mean, you see Luke Cage trying to figure out where to go from here. He does get some information about where this guy is getting his stuff from. He goes and visits Tilda's shop, which I think she knows. She seems like she's kind of turned towards her mother's side a little bit, which I find pretty strange because it seemed like it was a pretty quick transition. I thought it was going to be kind of a back and forth thing. Like, one minute she's trying to help her mother, but then she realizes her mother is terrible. It kind of feels like she helps Luke out, but didn't really help him out as much as she could have with, Mariah being her mother. So, kind of interesting there. Another thing that kind of is interesting and has got my intrigue is the final interaction between Mariah and Bushmaster, where he comes in and he's kind of talking to her a little bit about, her business and stuff. And we even saw a previous scene with, I think it was Misty and some guy in prison who I don't remember. It was, I don't know, I'm kind of doing two things at once, so I'm listening and I hear certain things being said and I look up and I see who's saying them, and sometimes it slips my mind. But there was an interesting story about a man on top of the hill ruling over the people down below, or a man down below. And the guy tells a story and it's just like, do you know why the man is okay with being down below? Because he knows at any time he can walk up that hill and kill that man with a blade and he'll never see it coming. And it kind of does feel like, I guess, the way Bushmaster's handling this whole situation. Like, he is not rushing it. He's not trying to take over quickly. Kind of what Mariah is doing. She's trying to, quickly, we gotta go. We gotta do business with Piranha. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. And Bushmaster's just like, I know at any point I can just walk in and take over everything. So he's very, not complacent. He's very satisfied with where he is right now and sort of how everything's coming together at his own pace. So I don't know, I find that very interesting, the way they sort of paralleled that. At least that's the parallel I got from it. And then, of course, he talks about being on top of the hill, how she's on top of the hill right now and all that. So, I don't know, I enjoy that side of it. I enjoy whenever things are told as more of a figurative perspective. And then the final interaction between those two where he's just like, Mrs. Stokes or whatever, she's like, it's starts with a D, Dillard. She's like, it's Dillard, bitch. And I'm just like, okay, so clearly she does not like the name Stokes. She doesn't want him to be involved with her anymore. But he knows the right buttons to press, and Shades, of course, is very suspicious of him, so now he's looking into him, trying to figure out what he's all about. So, I don't know, I'm liking the different moving pieces that are going on right now. It's a lot of intricate stuff going on, but it's interesting stuff. And I think that's where Jessica Jones Season 2 didn't really have me, was it felt very simple. And it can get too complex sometimes. Like, there are several stories going on, so sometimes it can get a little bit like, oh, Luke Cage is talking to Claire, and then all of a sudden now they're dealing with Bushmaster, and all of a sudden Mariah's dealing with Piranha, and then they're dealing with this, and they're dealing with that. So sometimes it can get a little bit back and forth, but I like the pieces that are moving. I feel like they all make sense and they all connect together at some point. With Jessica Jones season 2, it was just way too simple. It was just she's trying to figure out about her powers. She goes to this place. She finds her mom. Bada bing, bada boom, done, over. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of the season goes. But that's it for this episode. So now on to the next one. See you there. And now episode 5, all sold out. As in like soul, like your soul is out. Yeah, this kind of sums up the episode. Because we spend most of it with Kevin Hart wannabe Piranha. I swear, the part at the end just summed up for me exactly what I saw from earlier. He's trying to be Kevin Hart. He was, oh, come on, man, come on, no, come on, Luke, help me out. Like, just so, like, big smile, so fast talking. And I'm just like, that works in Kevin Hart movies because they're comedies. This is not a comedy, so it just feels out of place for me. But that's the only problem I really have with this episode. It's just, it's too much. It's not terrible. It just kind of grates on you after a little while. But anyway, we do see, though, it does have a point. First of all, Luke is being blackmailed by Cockroach for $100,000 because of the beating that he took. And of course, Luke has no other option but to try to find some ways to make money. So he's talking to all these people, some sports people, because of the thing he did. Well, ultimately, Piranha wants to hire him for a showing at this party, and he'll do it for $150,000. So of course, yeah, absolutely. So they set it all up, and then they go there, and then the attack happens. At the same time, Mariah opens up her clinic to find the heads of 3 people whose, honestly, I guess one of them was Cockroach because Misty goes into his house and finds a headless body sitting on his couch. So I guess one of them was him. I don't know who, I guess one of the other ones was Ray Ray, the one that Shades is like, where's Ray Ray? Is he talking to the cops? I can't find him anywhere. So yeah, I don't exactly know what is going on. I think part of it is, I think Bushmaster wants to take down Mariah, but not just kill her. I think he actually wants to like destroy her name, destroy what she's built before he kills her. So I think this is part of that. I believe it's the best guess I've got. Because honestly, there are a lot of moving pieces. I forgot to talk about Misty looking at getting the implant for the robotic arm, which she does in this episode. I forgot to talk about what's his name, Shade's friend from prison. I don't even remember his name now, but he's talking apparently to the police captain. Yeah, we gotta deal with that. Also, you gotta look at the fact that Cockroach is out because of what Scarf did in the first season. All of the shady stuff that he was doing because he's a dirty cop. So yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, and I think that's probably been the only part about the season so far that hasn't been the best. It's just been kind of cluttered. And like I said, I do think that you have to make it interesting by having some intricate plot. You can't just have a simple plot like, as I was saying, Jessica Jones season 2. But when you get too cluttered, when you start to focus on too many things at once, that's when it starts to become a problem. And I kind of notice it as I'm watching this episode, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I didn't talk about that. I didn't talk about that. I haven't talked about that yet. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and this is why I'm doing kind of shorter reviews, because I can't focus on every little thing, and I can't give my opinion on every little thing, because if I did, these would be like 15, 20-minute reviews per episode. So I think they do need to start, I realize they will start trimming down the plot a little bit as the season goes on, and at least all of the plot does seem at least combined into one major plot. It's not like where Jerry was off doing her own thing and Jessica was off doing her own thing and Trish was off doing her own thing. And by the end, finally, all sort of came together, but not really. There were still a couple things that didn't tie in with anything else. With this, at least it all feels connected to Mariah, Bushmaster, and Luke. All of it's connected to that. And they're a kind of little triangle that I feel like is building up to be an epic fight coming up pretty soon. So, yeah, it can get a little convoluted at times, but I also think that they've done a good job keeping the plot lines woven together, at least. So eventually, whenever a couple of these plot lines die off, like Cockroach, that's a plot line that is now gone. It's finished its conclusion because Bushmaster took him out and possibly, I think, took him out, took his head, and put it on a stake. Now, a couple of those storylines are gone now because he's out of the picture. But it still feels connected with what was going on with Mariah and the fact that he was one of the ones trying to buy. I don't know. It feels like everything is staying in the same realm of plot, which is good. But the other thing that kind of stood out to me in this episode a little bit was the flashbacks with Misty and Scarf. Not necessarily bad, and I feel like it helped to see a couple of those scenes, to see how Scarf was not the best guy, but a couple of them did stretch out just a little bit too long. And I feel like the fact that Misty was considering planting evidence in the first place didn't really fit with her character. I know she's kind of in a darker place this season because of what happened to her arm, because of, I guess, how everything's gone down with her job. But I still feel like for Misty, it's kind of like with Claire and what I thought she was going to do with talking to Luke's father. It feels sort of out of character for Misty to go down such a dark path to where she's actually considering, oh yeah, I'm going to plant evidence now to get Cockroach back into prison. Because basically, all it takes is you get found out, and what do you know? Now he's back out of prison again on the same exact thing that happened with Scarf. So, yeah, it's a minor thing, but it is something that does bug me a little bit. So, yeah, with all that being said, though, I'm going to move on to the next one. And based on how quick I've gone through these two, I may actually get to 4 episodes this time. So, fingers crossed. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode in just a second.